The conversation began unexpectedly, a dialogue I never envisioned venturing into. Ethan, my husband, with his perpetually inquisitive nature and that glimmer of mischief in his eyes, introduced the notion one tranquil evening during dinner. Initially, I dismissed it with laughter, convinced he was merely jesting. Light-hearted banter was our custom, a contributing factor to the vibrancy of our marriage. However, this time, his tone carried a different weight, an earnestness in his expression that caused my amusement to falter. He leaned in, his voice hushed, imbued with tenderness and anticipation. "I yearn for you to witness me with 2 women," he confessed, his words deliberate, almost reverential. The moment remains etched in my memory with striking clarity. My heart skipped a beat, caught between incredulity and an inexplicable allure. It was an alien concept, something I had never contemplated as part of our shared existence. Yet, his gaze held mine, soft yet smoldering with an undeniable desire, rendering me momentarily speechless. His proposition hung in the air, electrifying the atmosphere with an almost forbidden magnetism. A torrent of emotions, shock, curiosity, excitement, churned within me. Words failed me. Ethan, to his credit, refrained from pressing, patiently observing me with that same gentle intensity, affording me the space to process his unexpected desire. In the ensuing days, the idea stubbornly refused to dissipate. It lingered like an unanswered question, gaining potency with every passing thought. Ethan, commendably, exercised patience. He never forced the issue, allowing me to explore the unfamiliar territory at my own pace. But I couldn't help but notice the spark in his eyes whenever the topic arose, the fire that seemed to ignite within him. I found myself revisiting the conversation repeatedly. What would it be like to venture into such uncharted waters? Could I genuinely relinquish my inhibitions and embrace such an audacious experience? Gradually, the initial shock gave way to a hesitant curiosity. My imagination took flight, conjuring vivid scenarios, each more compelling than the last. In quiet moments, I would close my eyes, allowing the scenes to unfold in my mind. Ethan's smile, the glint in his eyes, the thrill of something so taboo yet so exhilarating. My heart would race with each imagined encounter, and a peculiar warmth would spread through my chest. I hadn't yet vocalized my thoughts, but the seed of the idea had been sown, taking root in ways I never could have foreseen. I couldn't deny it. I was intrigued. Deep down, a part of me was curious about the idea of watching Ethan with someone else, not just one, but 2 women. The very thought of it awakened a longing I hadn't realized existed, a quiet hunger that seemed to grow louder with each passing day. One evening, as we lay side by side in bed, the soft glow of the bedside lamp casting warm shadows across the room, I turned to him. My heart raced in my chest as I studied his face, the boyish charm in his smile, the slight tension in his posture as he waited for me to speak. Finally, I gave him a soft smile, one that carried both nervousness and resolve. "Okay," I whispered. For a moment, Ethan's eyes widened, and I caught a flicker of disbelief. But that hesitation was quickly replaced by pure, unfiltered excitement. His face lit up in a way I hadn't seen in years, and I couldn't help but smile back. The next few nights became a whirlwind of quiet conversations and careful planning. We discussed every detail, what we both wanted, where the boundaries would lie, and how we could ensure this experience strengthened our bond rather than creating distance. Ethan shared that he had already met 2 women who were open to the idea, both of whom were as intrigued as we were. Hearing the excitement in his voice as he described them was unexpected. Strangely, it didn't unsettle me. Instead, it made me feel more confident in my decision. This wasn't just about him. It was something we were stepping into together, with trust and openness. When the night finally arrived, I felt a knot of nervous energy settle in my stomach. As I stood in front of the mirror, brushing a hand over my skin, every touch felt heightened, my senses alive with anticipation. My breath came quicker, my cheeks warm, but beneath the nerves was a strange calmness. Ethan had always been my rock, and I trusted him now more than ever. This wasn't something he had sprung on me lightly. We had built up to this moment together, hand in hand. The room was softly lit with warm amber tones when the doorbell rang. My pulse quickened as Ethan opened the door, and two women stepped in. They were beautiful, each in her own way. One with fiery red hair that framed her face like a halo, the other with sleek black locks that fell elegantly over her shoulders. They carried themselves with a quiet confidence that was magnetic. "Hi," the redhead said, her voice warm and inviting. Her smile reached her eyes as she extended a hand to me. The other woman, equally gracious, added, "Thank you for having us." Their words were simple, but there was an unspoken understanding behind them. They knew the significance of this moment. I smiled back, feeling Ethan's presence beside me. His hand rested gently on the small of my back, his touch grounding me as if to say, "We're in this together." The excitement radiating from him was almost tangible, a quiet energy that filled the space between us. I nodded, letting out a steadying breath. Whatever was about to happen, we were stepping into it together, guided by trust, curiosity, and something that felt like uncharted adventure. This was something Ethan had long dreamed of, and now it was unfolding in front of us. The four of us eased into the evening, taking our time and letting the tension simmer naturally. There was no rush, no sense of urgency, just an unspoken understanding that we would move forward at a pace that felt right for everyone. The two women, Claire and Ava, were delightful. Their laughter filled the room as we shared stories over glasses of wine. Claire's wit kept the conversation light, while Ava's quiet humor drew everyone in. Slowly, I felt my initial nervousness begin to dissolve. The warmth in their presence, the casual ease with which they interacted, made it impossible not to relax. As the hours ticked by, the atmosphere began to shift. What had started as light-hearted conversation took on a subtle, electrifying undercurrent. The flirting began, soft, playful, and natural. Ethan, ever the charmer, became the center of attention. Claire and Ava leaned closer, their smiles lingering just a little longer, their eyes holding his gaze in a way that spoke volumes. I watched them, my emotions swirling in ways I couldn't fully articulate. There was excitement, yes, and a deep curiosity, but also a sense of liberation. I wasn't jealous, not in the way I might have expected. Instead, I felt a strange pride in seeing Ethan so comfortable, so confident. Giving him this freedom felt like opening a door not just for him, but for myself as well. The first kiss happened almost imperceptibly. Claire, her auburn hair falling over one shoulder, leaned in and brushed her lips softly against his. Time seemed to pause. My breath caught as I watched, my heart pounding in my chest. Ethan's hand cupped her face, his movements slow and deliberate as their lips found a quiet rhythm. Ava watched them too, her dark eyes flicking between me and the scene before her. For a moment, she hesitated, as if waiting for a signal from me. But I didn't look away. I couldn't. There was something hypnotic about the intimacy unfolding in front of me, something that pulled me deeper into the moment. As the kiss grew more intense, Ava leaned in, her gaze steady and sure. Her lips met Ethan's with a different energy, soft, exploratory at first, then growing with confidence. Ethan welcomed her, his arms slipping around her waist as the three of them became fully immersed in the moment. I could feel my own body responding to what I was witnessing. A warmth spread through me, starting in my chest and moving lower with every passing second. The air seemed heavier now, charged with something I hadn't expected but couldn't resist. Then Ethan glanced at me. His eyes, bright and full of desire, locked onto mine. In that brief but powerful look, I saw everything. His love for me, his trust in this moment, and his need for me to be a part of it. It wasn't just about him, it was about us, about exploring something uncharted together. And in that moment, I knew this was only the beginning. I found myself drawn in, unable to resist the magnetic pull of the moment. Slowly, I moved closer, sitting on the edge of the bed. My heart pounded wildly in my chest as I watched Ethan with Claire and Ava. His hands moved across their bodies with a mix of tenderness and hunger, exploring and caressing, the three of them swaying together in a slow, sensual rhythm. The tension in the room was palpable, the air thick with an unspoken desire that seemed to radiate from every touch, every soft sigh. Claire and Ava kissed Ethan deeply, their hands gliding over his chest, down his arms, their movements growing more assured and insistent. And then Claire turned to me, her warm, inviting eyes locked with mine, and she offered me a smile that was equal parts gentle and enticing. Without hesitation, she extended her hand toward me, the gesture filled with an unspoken invitation. I didn't think, I simply acted. I reached out, letting her guide me closer until I was no longer an observer, but a part of the moment. Her lips met mine in a kiss that was soft and tentative, yet filled with the promise of something deeper. I allowed myself to melt into it, feeling the heat of her body pressed against mine, the smoothness of her skin beneath my fingertips. Ava leaned in next, her hand resting lightly on my thigh. Her touch was feather-soft but deliberate, each movement imbued with intent. My pulse quickened as her lips brushed against my neck, sending shivers down my spine. Ethan's eyes never left me. His gaze was dark and intense, filled with a desire that only deepened the intoxicating energy in the room. The three of us moved together in an unspoken harmony, our lips, our hands exploring one another's bodies with a mix of curiosity and urgency. Ethan watched, his breath heavy, his hands alternating between the three of us. His kisses moved from me to Ava to Claire, weaving us all into a seamless rhythm of passion. The night stretched on. Each kiss, each caress, each whispered breath building the tension higher and higher until it felt as though the air itself might combust. Every sensation was heightened, the warmth of skin against skin, the brush of lips, the quiet gasps and soft moans. It was overwhelming in the best way. Time seemed to dissolve, leaving nothing but the four of us in that room, wrapped in the intensity of the moment. Ethan was the anchor, the center of it all. His touch brought us together, guiding us through an experience that felt equal parts intimate and liberating. It wasn't just about him, or any one of us. It was about the connection we were creating, the freedom we were sharing. As the night reached its crescendo, the tension that had been building finally broke. I gasped, my body trembling with release, my senses alive with the sensations coursing through me. I watched Ethan with Claire and Ava, their bodies entwined, their soft moans filling the air like a symphony of pleasure. It was beautiful, raw, sensual, and deeply human. For a brief, timeless moment, nothing else existed outside that room. My body tingled with the afterglow, a delicious warmth spreading through me as I lay tangled with Ethan, Claire, and Ava. Ethan's familiar scent enveloped me, his strong arms a comforting weight around my waist. He pressed a soft kiss to my temple, and I could feel the smile in his touch. Claire's fingers were laced with mine, her leg thrown over Ava's, creating a beautiful mess of limbs and whispered breaths. A wave of contentment washed over me, so profound it was almost shocking. Never in my wildest dreams had I imagined this. The four of us, intertwined, hearts and bodies bared. It was a revelation, a delicious secret that bloomed in the darkness, revealing hidden depths within myself, within Ethan, within our marriage. This night was more than just passion. It was an exploration, a journey into uncharted territory that somehow brought us closer than ever before. It was a reaffirmation of the love Ethan and I shared, the trust that had always been our bedrock, and yet it was also something entirely new, a vibrant spark that reignited a part of me I thought I'd lost. I knew, with a certainty that settled deep in my bones, that this was just the beginning. We had stepped through a doorway into a future filled with possibilities, a future where love wasn't confined by old rules and expectations. As I drifted towards sleep, lulled by the rhythm of Ethan's heartbeat against my back, a profound sense of peace settled over me. Claire and Ava were still close, their presence a tangible reminder of the intimacy we had shared. The air thrummed with the echoes of our connection, a silent language of shared vulnerability and affection. I turned my head, my lips finding Claire's. Her kiss was soft, tender, filled with a quiet understanding that mirrored my own. Her eyes, when she pulled back, held a depth of emotion that took my breath away. She squeezed my hand, a silent affirmation of the bond that had blossomed between us. Ava, with her characteristic grace, shifted closer, her lips meeting mine in a kiss that was both playful and searching. It was a dance of discovery, a reflection of the unique connection we had forged. The ease with which we moved together, the way our bodies fit, felt incredibly right. Ethan's hand rested on my hip, his touch possessive yet tender, a silent declaration of love and acceptance. He didn't need words. His presence was enough. As we kissed, a wave of desire washed over me, a sweet ache that mingled with the lingering warmth of our shared intimacy. This night had changed everything. It was a shared experience, a tapestry woven from vulnerability and trust, a moment in time that would forever be etched in my memory. We had found something extraordinary, something that transcended the ordinary boundaries of love and relationships. And as I finally succumbed to sleep, I knew that this was just the first page in a brand new chapter of our lives. We continued to explore each other with a newfound freedom, every touch and kiss growing more passionate, every caress more intimate. There was no rush, no need to hurry. The evening unfolded slowly, deliberately, like a dance where each step brought us closer together in ways I had never imagined. Ethan's hands moved with an unerring precision, his touch tender yet confident. Each movement felt like a gift, his love and care radiating through every caress. He leaned in to kiss me, his lips warm and lingering on mine, his breath sweet and reassuring. Claire and Ava's hands roamed over my skin, their touches light yet purposeful. Their lips found my neck and shoulders, leaving a trail of kisses that sent shivers down my spine. I closed my eyes, letting the sensations wash over me as we moved together in perfect harmony, our bodies pressed close, exploring each other with a shared sense of curiosity and wonder. The kisses deepened, becoming more intense as we allowed ourselves to be fully immersed in the moment. Ethan's touch was a constant presence, guiding us with a balance of tenderness and authority. Each kiss ignited a fire within me, a heat that burned brighter with every passing second. The passion in the room was electric, the intimacy profound. Every touch, every soft moan, every whispered word was a testament to the love and trust Ethan and I had nurtured over the years. This wasn't just an act of desire, it was an expression of something much deeper. The air was thick with affection, each of us moving with a rhythm that felt as natural as it was exhilarating. The connection we shared grew stronger with every touch, every kiss, every moment of vulnerability. As the night wore on, the intensity between us built to an almost unbearable crescendo. Ethan's gaze met mine frequently, his eyes filled with a mixture of love and longing. It was as though he was speaking directly to my soul, telling me that this moment was as much about us as it was about the others. Claire and Ava moved with us, their presence adding to the richness of the experience. Their touches and kisses mirrored the same sense of wonder and connection we all shared. The boundaries between us dissolved, leaving only a profound unity that felt both exhilarating and deeply personal. Finally, the night reached its peak. In one perfect moment, our bodies and hearts came together in a shared release that left us all breathless. The sensations overwhelmed me, a mix of passion, love, and liberation that I had never felt before. As I lay there afterward, Ethan's arms wrapped securely around me, I felt an indescribable sense of closeness, not just with him, but with Claire and Ava as well. The intimacy we had shared that night wasn't just physical. It was a bond that tied us together, in ways words could never fully capture. We clung to each other, breaths intermingling, bodies entwined in a lover's knot. The air thrummed with a quiet contentment, a shared understanding of the deep connection that bound us together. Dawn painted the room in soft hues as we lay intertwined, bodies still close, hearts overflowing with the intimacy we had shared. Ethan's strong arms enveloped me, his touch a comforting haven, while Claire and Ava nestled beside us. Their presence was a tangible reminder of the extraordinary journey we had embarked on, a moment that transcended anything we had ever known. Closing my eyes, I surrendered to the wave of contentment washing over me. The night had been so much more than a physical act. It was an odyssey of discovery, of forging connections, of love in its purest form. It was an exploration that had deepened our bonds, pushed our boundaries, and unlocked a world of new possibilities. As we lay there, bathed in the soft morning light, I knew this wasn't the end, but rather a beautiful beginning. A new chapter was unfolding for us, filled with the promise of adventure, freedom, and an unbridled love. As the night deepened, our connection seemed to intensify. There was no urgency, no need for words. An unspoken language guided our every touch, every kiss. Each caress drew us closer, weaving a tapestry of affection and desire that held us captive. Ethan's hands moved with a tender purpose, tracing the contours of our bodies with a reverence that spoke volumes of his deep affection. Each kiss lingered, a blend of passion and tenderness that sent shivers of warmth through me. Claire and Ava matched his intensity, their movements imbued with a graceful confidence. Their hands explored my skin, their lips finding mine and Ethan's with equal fervor. Our kisses were slow, sensual, deliberate, each one a beat in the rhythm of our shared passion. Time ceased to exist as we explored one another with newfound liberation. The boundaries we once thought immutable dissolved, replaced by a sense of unity and freedom. Our intimacy wasn't solely about passion, it was about trust, connection, and a love that transcended the ordinary. As the first rays of dawn peeked through the curtains, I rested my head against Ethan's chest, finding solace in the steady beat of his heart. Claire and Ava remained close, their gentle touch a comforting warmth against my skin. Ethan's lips brushed my forehead, a tender gesture filled with love and reassurance. In that moment, surrounded by the three people who had shared this profound experience with me, I realized how much we had all grown, not just as individuals, but as a couple, and as something new, something undefined yet beautifully whole. This was just the beginning of our journey, a journey fueled by love, exploration, and the boundless possibilities that lay ahead. The boundaries we once knew dissolved entirely, giving way to a shared intimacy that felt both exhilarating and profound. The warmth of the room enveloped us, the soft dim light casting gentle shadows as our breaths mingled, creating an atmosphere of unity and tenderness. Every touch, every kiss became a celebration of the connection we had built, a testament to the trust and love Ethan and I had nurtured over the years. His gaze found mine often, his eyes brimming with a deep sense of satisfaction and love. In those moments, I could see how much this meant to him. Not just the physicality of it, but the emotional depth we were exploring together. Ethan's touches were tender, yet carried an undeniable passion. His hands roamed over my skin with reverence, each caress a reflection of his care and desire to make this experience unforgettable for all of us. His lips found mine in a kiss that was soft but electric, trailing down to my neck and leaving a path of affection that made my breath hitch. Claire and Ava, their presence a perfect harmony within our evening, responded with equal tenderness. Their touches were gentle but intentional, their kisses warm and inviting. Together, we created a dynamic of intimacy that felt both exhilarating and deeply comforting. Each of us contributed something unique to the moment, weaving together an experience that was as fulfilling as it was profound. We continued to move together, our bodies exploring one another with a slow, deliberate rhythm. It was a dance of affection and desire, where every kiss and caress carried meaning. Every moment felt like a new discovery. the intensity between us grew naturally, the touches becoming more exploratory, the kisses deepening into something even more passionate. There was no rush, no urgency. Time seemed to slow as we embraced the freedom of the moment, allowing ourselves to fully immerse in the sensations and emotions we were sharing. As the night progressed, the energy in the room shifted, building steadily toward a crescendo. The passion between us was palpable, but it wasn't hurried. Each movement, each touch, carried an intention that deepened our connection. It was as though we were all working together to create something extraordinary, something that transcended the physical. By the time the crescendo arrived, we were all fully immersed in the experience. Our connections intertwined in ways that went beyond touch. The physical intimacy was undeniable, but it was the emotional closeness, the trust and love that bound us together, that truly made the night unforgettable. The intimacy we shared was accompanied by an emotional closeness that made the moment even more profound. When we finally reached the peak of our shared experience, the sense of unity and fulfillment was almost tangible, filling the room like a quiet, unspoken melody. We held each other close, our bodies entwined in a loving embrace. The room was wrapped in a peaceful silence, a reflection of the deep connection we had all experienced. In the quiet that followed, we remained together, our breaths slowly returning to normal, the softness of the sheets and the warmth of our bodies creating a cocoon of serenity and comfort. Ethan's arms were securely around me, his touch gentle and reassuring. Beside us, Claire and Ava rested, their presence a comforting reminder of the incredible journey we had shared. The quiet affection that lingered between us was as powerful as the passion we had experienced earlier. As the night surrendered to the early morning light, the four of us lay together, our hearts full from the love and connection we had created. The adventure, the exploration, it had brought us closer, deepening our bond in ways I hadn't thought possible. I felt an overwhelming sense of peace and satisfaction. This experience wasn't just an intimate encounter. It was a new chapter in our lives. It was built on love, trust, and mutual respect, a testament to the strength of our relationships and the openness we shared. What we had created together was truly special, something that would forever remain a cherished memory. As Ethan's arms tightened gently around me and the warmth of Claire and Ava's presence lingered beside us, I knew we had stepped into a new realm of connection and understanding. As I began to drift off to sleep, wrapped in the embrace of those who had shared this profound night with me, I felt a deep sense of contentment. The love Ethan and I had nurtured through the years felt stronger, more vibrant than ever. This experience had not only brought us closer, but had also opened the door to future adventures, a path we could explore together with trust and love as our guide. And as sleep claimed us all, I knew one thing with absolute certainty. Our connection would continue to grow, nurturing and shaping the next chapters of our lives in ways I could only imagine.